So this is something totally off topic. I don't understand, and I'm hoping you guys can educate me.
Oh
I
yeah.
saw this come through. Ryan Martin this morning shared that Arizona, I think, yeah, APTA
Yep. APT
Arizona,
Arizona.
Governor Hobbs just signed legislation allowing physical therapists to order all imaging.
Yep.
So, Dave, this might be more in your world. I can tell you over, 20 plus years of private practice, maybe there was like a handful of people that I thought might have a hip fracture, and I wanted them to get imaging just to rule out hip fracture. But is this a thing? Is this something that therapists value? Do we need to order imaging? Where are you guys on this?
Yeah. Dave, you go first.
So first of all, Ryan Martin is the man. I had him on my podcast. We
Yeah.
discussed diagnostic ultrasound, and I commented. I think I commented on that post. I said, "Hey Ryan, I need to get you back on my pod so we can discuss this." So I will give my thoughts without the full understanding, because I need to hear from him as to like how they would use this in the medical model, or like the therapy model and all that. And then obviously therapists that are watching or listening, they're going to ask about like reimbursement, and apparently it's possible, maybe it is state dependent and all that. This I think is, in my opinion, it's different, Tony. It's different than the practice style that you're accustomed to. That's why it's you have a lot of ingrained behaviors, as I do, as we all do. And so something like this, all of a sudden, like, I totally understand, and it makes sense why you're like, is this even feasible? Does this even make sense? Or like, who cares, or whatever. But orthopods are kind of taught this approach, and like they'll x-ray almost everyone, right? And like we just don't, because like we didn't learn it in school. We didn't
Yeah.
have
Right.
the ability to order, and so it's just not in our normal workflow. I think as we talk more, or we see more around primary care physical therapy, I know there's different folks that you guys have spoken to that are doing this type of stuff. That's why we started doing diagnostic ultrasound. We have a lot of patients that come to us that reach out to us in New York City that don't have a primary care physician, or they have not been to an orthopod. So in those cases, like, I guess, yeah, we could just refer back to the orthopod as opposed to ordering the x-rays. These are some things that I would want to ask Ryan Martin. But moving forward with, reimbursement crunch and finding more ways to have out-of-pocket services, cash pay services, building more margin so that we can stay in business and help more of our communities, I do think imaging, including x-ray potentially, but definitely diagnostic ultrasound, could have its place with physical therapists looking to be more, I'm not saying the only primary care provider, but being more in the forefront of primary care, because more people are on Instagram, more people are on TikTok, they're seeing physical therapy videos, they're calling their physical therapy offices, they're going right to the PT practice in many cases. And this is something that could help, rule things out, just have a differential diagnosis, maybe assessed or figured out before you go in and manipulate that hip or whatever it might be. So that's kind of like my opening statements, although I need some room for adjustment after I speak with Ryan Martin.
Okay. Okay.
What are you thinking, Jimmy?
This is two things. This is external and internal. One, this is a tool, and I've done some work with APTA orthopedics. There's a guy by the name of Bruno who is terribly fired up about imaging, and this guy is an expert on it, and he will bring you the numbers. He has the receipts of what happens here, right? So we're going to see, like, someone from Bruno and APTA orthopedics with their special interest group in terms of imaging. They're saying, like, listen, when PTs can do this, it's cost savings, it's better, it gets people to the better care faster. I can't refute Bruno and the receipts. He's got that, right? The other thing that I think this is internal validation too. And saying it's both of these things, it's not saying it's bad. But this is I think us fighting to show other people that we're smart and we can provide things and we can do this too and we have enough education. And I agree with both of those things. It's not bad to have both of these things. But this is an external thing saying cost savings, better for patients, agree. Again, Bruno and APTA Orthopedics and their live streams, go look at their YouTube channel, which I help produce, but it's got good information on there. And they have the receipts. They can show this thing helps cost savings, it gets people better care, it helps get people better faster. Hard stop. The other thing, what is this? Why are we fighting so hard for this? Is, physicians might say like, well, watch out for scope creep because we've got the physical therapists over here and the chiropractors. They're sort of right, right? So we're looking for other things to expand because we know we either expand and grow or atrophy and die, right? So I think this is one way people can look at and say, well, if we could order these things, I see what you're doing over there. I'm the younger brother. I see what you got ice cream. How come I don't? I'm deserving of ice cream. So I think it's one of those things. It's a little bit of validation. It's like we do have the credentials, we do have the education, we can use these things, and when we start to, that comes to my first point: is there's the receipts.
Scott said, yes, I'm glad you brought up the Arizona announcement. And like I said, I am completely ignorant to this, so please bear with me. I just know, I've got some exposure to the chiropractic market. I know that 20 years ago, every single human that walked into the chiropractic office got an x-ray. Now they've moved almost completely away from everybody getting an x-ray. My understanding is that MRI imaging is just so inconsistent. There's that classic case where a woman goes to 10 MRI imaging centers in 3 months, I think it is. She gets 10 completely different diagnoses with almost no carryover between them. So I'm like, if imaging is inconsistent at best, we're not going to be doing surgery anyway. Now, I hadn't thought of, I think it was Dave's point where, okay, maybe this is opening new doors. If we're going to be the primary care providers of musculoskeletal service, maybe there is a point there. Maybe therapists are thinking, well, I'm going to bring imaging into my office, and that's going to be a new revenue opportunity for me. With Ryan doing the ultrasound, musculoskeletal ultrasound, like, is this something that he would need to be able to have access to ordering imaging to do the musculoskeletal ultrasound? I don't know. I really don't. I have no idea. But talking about these topics just reminded me, Paul Stein from Strata PT had shared this. I know it's not too big, but I'll just read it real quick. There's a massive opportunity to make more money in physical therapy world. Let's explain. And he goes through, there's a certain amount of money you can make for the minimum standard of care. There's a different amount of money you can make for the best outcome for the patient. There's a delta between the two numbers. And he talks about virtual coaching, digital products like courses, online programs, and physical products like, exercise balls and massage guns. What do you guys think? So does this play in? Does this mean that we're going to see clinicians that are bringing imaging into the office?